Interlude, and for that I'm joined by Jade Barker. Jade, hello, thank you for being with us. You've been speaking to a rather multi-talented artist today, haven't you?
That's right, Maria de Medeiros came into the studio to have a chat with me. Now, she's a singer, an actress, probably best known for her role in Pulp Fiction, and she's also a director. Now, her latest project is a documentary called Bakuri's Eyes, which tells the story of 3 generations of women who have been fighting for their freedom. Now, it follows one family who first fled Brazil's military dictatorship and went to seek political asylum in Chile, and then they were forced to flee there again because the government was overthrown by Augusto Pinochet. Well, let's take a look at an extract from that film now. This is one of the women that the documentary follows. Her name is Eduarda Crispin, talking about an allegory that her auntie told her as a 4-year-old.
E ela me contou a história de soldado que tinha no país dele, tinha orco, gigante, muito cruel. E as pessoas sofriam. E tinha esse soldadinho que lutava contra esse grande monstro. E no final o soldado venceu. O gigante foi matado e o país foi livre. Mas, infelizmente, o soldado morreu. E ela me perguntou, sabe quem é o soldado? Sim, era meu pai, se chamava Eduardo.
And that documentary is being shown at a women's film festival here in France. Tell us about that.
That's right, it's called the Créteil International Women's Film Festival. As the title might suggest, it showcases films that are made by women, and it begins today. It runs for the next 10 days. It was originally set up in 1979 at a time when women were perhaps just starting to make their voice heard in the film industry. Now, it's quite poignant actually, because just last week there was a new study that was released in the US which said that women were massively underrepresented in the US film industry last year. I spoke to Maria and asked her what she thought about this, as she thought events like this are still important.
I think probably more than ever. No, it was always very important, and I'm very honored this year to be part of the festival. And I do believe so much is still to be done for women, and balance between women and men, and in cinema, definitely.
Now, you can catch the rest of my interview with Maria at 5:15 today.
Now, staying with cinema, India has opened its first film museum. What's that about?
That's right, well, it was 7 years in the making and cost some $20 million. But finally, an homage to the country's film industry has opened in the heart of Bollywood in Mumbai. Now, it's been more than 100 years, actually, since the country's film industry began. This particular museum is set in a 6,000 square foot museum and traces the whole of the country's cinematic history from the black and white silent era to modern musical blockbusters of today. And it showcases original artifacts, as you can see there, memorabilia, recordings and filmmaking tools. Now, the idea is to celebrate all Indian film, not just Bollywood. And here's a little interesting fact for you. There's actually some 1,500 films that come out of that country every year. So it's a long overdue homage to that industry.
It's more than Hollywood, in fact, isn't it? Right, well, let's move to some literature news. A Nigerian author has won a US prize.
That's right. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, quite a difficult name there to get your tongue around, won the US National Book Critics Circle Prize for her novel Americana. It's one of the most prestigious literary prizes in the US. It's open to all writers from all different nationalities, so long as they've had their books published in that country. Now, Americana is actually her 3rd novel. Her 2 previous ones, Half of a Yellow Sun and Purple Hibiscus, have also been very highly praised. Now, Americana tells the story of a Nigerian woman who moves to the US in a bid to pursue a college education. However, France 9 Cat's Eve Jackson also caught up with the novelist last year, and she told her the book was also about hair.
I say it half in jest when I say it's about hair, but it is in some ways about a character who's finding herself. So she leaves Nigeria, she goes to the US, then she returns to Nigeria. So in many ways, it's a book about finding home, about returning. But also it's about race. So she goes to the US and she discovers that she's black, and she hadn't thought of herself as black when she was in Nigeria. And then also I think her sort of interactions with her hair is a way of saying something larger about the identities we take on, the new identities we take on.
Jade, thank you very much for that. And we're leaving culture for sports now. Time for a roundup of what's happening in the world of sport.